Hi everybody, it's me Natalie, and today I'm going to be reading one chapter from Five Nights at Freddy's The Twisted Ones. I'm only going to read one chapter for you because I don't want to spoil everything, and I've read through some of the books, so I'm on page chapter 5 right now, and it's till pages 102, so let's get started. Chapter 5. We are learning all the time. Hopefully at least some of you are learning right here in this class. Dr. Treadwell's students laughed nervously, but she continued over them. It had apparently not been a joke. When we learn, our minds must decide we will store that information. Unconsciously, we determine that group of things is most relevant to and connected to that group. This is, of course, only the most rudimentary explanation. When computers do this, we call it an information tree. Charlie was only half listening. She knew this already and was taking her notes on autopilot. Since her expedition to Freddy's the day before, she hadn't been able to get the image of Dave's body out of her head, his torso and the gruesome lace of scars that had covered it. When he was alive, he'd show them off to her, boasting of his survival. While he never told her what had happened, it must have been an accident. He used to wear those suits all the time. He could see him now, before all the murderers, dressed as Yellow Bunny and dancing merrily with a yellow bear. She took her head suddenly, trying to get rid of the image. "Are you okay?" Artie whispered. She nodded, waving him off. "But the dead man in the field, that wasn't an accident. Someone forced him inside." "But why?" Charlie restlessly tapped her fingers on her desk. "That will be all for today." Dr. Treadwell set down her chalk and stalked off the auditorium stage with a purposeful step. Her teaching assistant, a flustered graduate student, scurried forward to collect the homework. "Hey, do you have any time to go over some of this?" Artie asked Charlie as they gathered up their things. "I'm in a little bit over my head in this class." Charlie paused. She'd promised to make up her first date with John, but she wasn't meeting him for over an hour. Now that she had been to Freddy's, Charlie almost felt like she was on familiar ground, even if it was soaked in blood. "I have some time now," she told Artie, who lit up. "Great, thanks so much. We can go work over at the library." Charlie nodded. "Sure." She followed him across the campus, only half engaged as he explained the difficulties with the material. They found a table, and Charlie opened her notebook to the pages she'd taken down today, pushing them across so Artie could see them. "Actually, do you mind if I sit next to you?" he asked. "It's easier if we're both looking up at the same thing, right?" "Oh, yeah." Charlie pulled her notes back over as he came around and sat next to her, scooting his metal folding chair next to hers, just a few inches closer than she would have preferred. "So where do you get lost?" she asked him. "I was telling you on the way over," he said, with a hint of reproach in his voice, then cleared his throat. "I guess I understood at the beginning of the lecture, when she was reviewing last week's material." Charlie laughed. "So basically you want to review everything new from today." Artie nodded sheepishly. Charlie started from the beginning, pointing at her notes as she went. As she flipped through the pages, she noticed her own scribbles in the margins. Charlie leaned in closer, where harsh outlines of rectangles lined the bottom of the page. They were all colored in, like stabs of granite. She stared at them with a sensation of déjà vu. They were important. "I don't remember drawing that," she thought uneasily. Sorry guys, my nose is itchy. "Then it's just doodles, everybody doodles." She turned the page to the next segment of the lecture, and a strange alertness rose at the base of her neck, as if someone might be watching her. There were more doodles in the margins of this page, too, and the next one. All of them were rectangles. Some were large and some were small, some scribbled and some outlined, and so solidly that her pen had wet the paper through and torn it. All of them were vertical, taller than they were wide. Charlie stared, tilting her head to see from different angles, until something pinged inside her. "Sammy?" she thought then. "Is that you? Does this mean something I don't understand?" Charlie glanced at Artie. He was staring at the paper, too. As she watched, he turned the page again. The next pages were the same. They were filled with neat, clear notes. The little rectangles were squashed into every available spot on the page, stuffed into the space between bullet points, crammed into the margins, and tucked away where lines came up short. Quickly, Artie flipped the page back. He looked up at her and smiled, but his eyes were wary. "Why don't you try the first problem here?" Charlie suggested. Artie bent over to his worksheet, and Charlie stared down at her notebook. Her mind kept returning to her father's house, and the shapes she'd drawn only made the impulse stronger.